or anything.
You want to yeah, there you go, record sync.
All right, nice one. Yeah, congrats for the new album. You've taken a little bit of a break. I feel like we didn't see you for a while or hear too much about you, and then all of a sudden this new project's out. So can we talk about that? Like what was the hiatus and what does this project kind of mean to you and where are you at the moment?
Yeah, honestly, the project took the amount of time I've been waiting just because I I like produce and engineer as like a career. So
Yeah.
it like I'm sure you know, like just dealing with like clients and like and just other people's work so much, like I was like kind of like creatively drained like by the end of each day. I'm like I don't know if I want to spend my 2 of my 8 hours of sleep or 2 of my 6 hours of sleep working on this thing I have to do. So I kind of like lost a little bit of drive for a little bit on my own personal stuff, but found a way to get back into it. We had like the producers of the project just drive down from Connecticut, or sorry, Boston, and that kind of sparked it again because they were excited about it, so it made me excited to work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So you're just spending all your days doing other musical stuff. It's hard to kind of find the drive to just also switch off, I guess, into your own little creative mode
Yeah,
where you have
yeah,
full control.
yeah.
What's the title all about?
So I'd say it's a mixture of it sounds cool and also it kind of it's kind of an interesting, like I feel like myself as like a personality, I don't take many things serious. But this kind of has a very serious tone to the whole album. It's very like, hard and rap heavy, and then there's like these like deep moments and stuff like that. But it's kind of just like I forgot what's the name, an oxymoron. It feels like almost, or some like no one's really like having a good time in traffic.
Yeah.
But I think it's just about more finding something funny in something so like bad. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where it came from. It's just kind of like a weird, like it's also like a weird space I was in that I was like, I had like these like days that I'm like in my head, but then I also don't take many things too seriously or try not to. So like sometimes I laugh off the seriousness, and I think I kind of like went into that in like some songs, but other songs I didn't want to be serious. I was just rapping. So I don't know. I thought it sounded cool and it kind of rolled off the tongue, and
Yeah.
it kind of makes you think.
It makes a lot of sense having like I've only sort of briefly listened. I want to go back in and listen a bit more intently, but you get a kind of good vibes feel from it straight away. But then to say that you dig into some deeper issues as well is a bit of an an oxymoron in itself.
Hmm.
Juxtaposing those two things. So I like that's cool that's how you did it.
Yeah,
Was it something that you sort of freestyled your way through, or did you preconceive what you were going to write about?
it was definitely not too preconceived. It was kind of on spot. Like they would send me some musical like production often, and it kind of took me a while to write to it, but like we kind of pieced it together. And I think as we started making more, we started seeing like an overall sound. And then after we got that sound, like I think we kind of like it's more. I would give it more of like a mixtapey slash like it's not really too concepty. It's just more of like a vibe. So I didn't want to go too deep into a concept. So it's a little kind of just a bunch of similar vibes all together, but they kind of like represent the whole concept of just not taking it too seriously, but also being serious at the same time.
Yeah, nice. And what about the artwork? Where did that come from?
I don't know where that came from, but one of their buddies is just an insanely talented like graphic designer, and we told him was the name of like the album, and we always had like an idea of like some play on like I remember I had my first idea would be like pack to pack traffic and then someone just doing stand up in the middle of it, like, and it would just be like a bird's eye view. I thought something like that would be kind of funny, and then like I thought of what do they call it, yeah, just pretty much like some kind of weird like joke. But I gave it to him, and then he just sent that back, and I was like, "This is like the coolest thing I've ever seen." It looks like a Blink 182 cover. Like it looked like some old punk cover.
Yeah, very much so. Yes, that was like a first draft. Then there was no editing or anything.
That was like the first one he sent us, and I was like, "This is amazing." Because I
That's
never, no one really uses like the pink, lime green like combo in color like that, like old like early 2000s slash like punk
It's a
band
little
cover.
bit retro. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice. And I was going to say, are you still producing as well? But you didn't produce this. Then you just performed on this and wrote on this.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's funny is I produce so much that it's kind of hard for me to write on my own stuff at this point because I use so much like brain power to make it that I set my expectations like way too high for what I hear on it, and I usually hear someone besides me on it. Uh, so it's actually easier for me to just like I guess when they send me beats, it makes me feel more like an artist. Just
Yeah.
like I can just rap on it or something like that versus like the whole production. I just like set my expectations way too high for like a full production that I have to like only very rarely do I hear a beat that I make and like I feel like I fit on it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
you don't ever get like a sort of, you'll hear something and think, oh, I would have done that slightly differently, and then wish that you'd done it. You completely detach from the production side of it when you.
I was like that a little bit more early on, but I think like producing for like as long as I have and like for as many records as I have, seeing some come out and some not come out, and like I've had to like learn to detach from my production sometimes because sometimes if I give it to an artist, I have like I can't like worry like I'll like be like, oh, like I hope they do something to it, and then they don't, or like sometimes it's just like I had to like learn to detach from the production sometimes just in the business of things, like because sometimes it doesn't come out how you want. So like I try to like put it away for a second. It's kind of like a bummer, but sometimes I do hear stuff that I'm just like I've had a few times that I've made a beat for someone and then they started going on it, and then I was like, damn, I wish I didn't show them. Like I wish I just made it with my headphones and said like, oh, I don't like this one, and then just put it in like a little folder and then
Yeah.
yeah.
That's yeah. I guess that's all part of the process, isn't it? Sometimes you're just like, well, learn from that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Consider
of
that
course.
next time.
Of course.
When I first interviewed you, which was 2021, so very sort of fresh after the pandemic,
Hmm.
we talked about, well, actually, I'll quote what you said. You said, music isn't meant to be perfect. It's not meant to be mass produced and put on a shelf. Music's an expression. There's someone out there whose life could be changed listening to it. And knowing that someone's out there that feels the same, you basically said that that's the kind of thing that drives you. I wanted to ask then, kind of very similar to what we were just talking about, how do you overcome this need for perfection without sacrificing the quality, I guess, or without rushing things?
I feel like I've learned a little bit more recently how to not. It's kind of like I've been like in this like phase where like I'm like teetering the line between uh maintaining the character of something when it was done versus being lazy. Like which I have to like ask myself that question because sometimes obviously if you take too long on something you start to like be like I think it's fine or but like I had a couple conversations with some people, and one of my buddies told me that like he would always, even if it was imperfect, if he wrote something and he recorded it, like say he like recorded it and he felt so good about it that night, and he still liked it for like a couple weeks, and maybe like later on you start to listen to the same thing over and over, and you start to think, oh well, maybe I could do this now because maybe you heard something else, or like you start wanting to change it. You start working on the same song for like now it's like a year.
Yeah.
Sometimes you psych yourself out in that way, and even if maybe I recorded it right here and not in my studio or something like that, but like I just love the character of the take, and maybe it's not perfect, but like the character's there, and like the emotion of what I felt when I wrote the lyrics versus like rehashing them now and trying to replicate it. Like I've learned that like sometimes that's a little better, and people can kind of tell. They can't like pinpoint it, but they'll feel it. And
Yeah.
I just think things are getting just too perfect. You know what I mean? But I also think things are getting really lazy at the same time. So like it's
It's a
like
difficult line.
it
Yeah.
is. It's a hard line
Yeah.
to draw, but you can kind of tell. Like it's like, for instance, like if I record someone and they show me their demo, and their demo's like super rough, but they love it. But like it's just like it's like lazy rough. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I would recommend record it in a good place and then make it rough. That's the art in it. Like the art is to make it sound old, not just
Yeah.
make it sound kind of like
Do it in a trashy way.
yeah, exactly.
No, it's kind of you want to capture something in the moment, so you get that authenticity, which you always get with your music. But not so much that like I've just recorded this into my phone in the garage, because that's
Yeah,
not
and you're
quite
just like, oh, this is good. This is good enough. It's just like, well, no one's really gonna listen to your phone song. I'm
yeah,
sorry, like, but I think there's
yeah,
like it's just finding that line, and I think people get too technical and too perfect, like from like looking at a sheet and saying these are all the right numbers versus like just doing how you felt like when you felt it, and also being aware and maybe wanting to make it as good as possible. But there's no such thing as perfect in art. It's impossible to say what's perfect. There's like an industry standard, but like
mhm,
that's it.
yeah, yeah, and definitely I definitely agree with you that there's far too much perfection now in, I guess, mainstream pop and stuff. Is why there's a lot of similarities between stuff, because people are like, oh, they've used that there, let's use that thread here, and we'll clean it out, and we'll
Yeah, exactly. It's
double,
kind of crazy.
yeah. So Dirty Do Wop is the next one you're going to release pretty soon, I think.
You know what's funny is I just released it 20 minutes ago.
Oh, I
Like the
missed
video,
that.
like the video for it.
Okay, nice
I
one.
just released that now.
What was there a decision making process into like how you're going to do singles from this, or is it, are you just kind of rolling with the punches as to how you feel, or have you planned the whole thing out?
Yeah, I think so because it's been such a while since I've done anything, and I've kind of went through many phases of just like deciding if I want to like not do the. I just like started feeling like I jumped right into it like with like a like like put on my uniform and went into work like as an artist in the beginning, and then like that taught me a lot about how to market and all that stuff. But then like I do so much of it already as a job that like this release I kind of, while I also want to push it and I think it's good, and I have people helping me now because it's a collab between me and the producer, so it takes a little bit of like the pressure off me. um
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to just do what I felt and what I liked and what I knew my inner circle would like, and not take it too seriously. Also adhering to the title of just kind of putting it out and just making it more of an expression and something I like. Uh, and so like the music video, I was just like, I would love to hear the song in a music video. Just a bunch of like, it gives me like rambunctious kids vibes or something like that. Uh, like, and that's kind of like what the video represents. Is kind of just like the when you end up watching it, it's not like too concepty, but I just wanted to kind of like those kids that you grew up with, that like the skater kids, or like the ones on the corner, or the ones chain smoking cigarettes, or like those like kind of just like rejecty kids. But like
Yeah.
I wanted to do it like a take of like they never grew up type
Okay,
vibe.
nice.
You know what I mean? Because I'm sure we know some that never grew up as well. But
Oh, 100%. Yeah, there's tons of them walking around. Yeah,
yeah,
especially in cities.
exactly. Yeah. So I think even for there's one video I wanted to do that I did want to push for one of the songs, the Bad One and Cold Cut song, because I feel like that one's a little personal. I feel like it could be really dope, but I just don't. It's hard for me to do videos because I set the bar like, so I'm like, I want it. I could see it doing this and this and this, and then I'm just like, I don't have the budget for that. Or but like I kind of have to dull it down a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
To eat within
yeah.
my standard.
Is that similar in your mind as to how you visualize a song coming together, or is making films kind of not as much second nature? Like, what's that like for you? And how hard is that to go from imagining something quite dramatic, perhaps, and huge, to what you can actually, what's viable?
I think I've kind of always had that problem. I'm like I've wanted to do so many different careers in my life because like I'll like obsess over something for like a good like couple week span. Like like now I'm back into like film and stuff like that. So I'll research absolutely everything. I'll know everything about it, but I never wind up doing it. So it's kind of the same like a song. It's so much easier for me to like get the song done if I just put someone I know who's going to do it right away. It's the same as a video. Like it'll be way easier if I just say the things I think of and have the videographer kind of just tell me how it can get done. It's just yeah, but like I think like a mental hurdle like over time I had to get over is just like setting my expectations so high subconsciously kind of on purpose so that I don't have to do it. You know, and I feel like that's like a cycle.
So then it's more of it was impossible. It's not your fault. It's just
yeah, it's kind of a weird like psychological thing I do sometimes. Like it's too. This is like bring it back down to earth. Like this is you're setting yourself up to fail. Like kind of like to not be able to do it. Where I know I could do that video that I'm thinking about right now in a different way that still makes sense. But like if I really wanted to, I guess I'd do it by now. So I have to kind of learn how to organize my thoughts a little bit better.
Yeah, that's interesting. Similar to the perfectionism thing, I guess, then, because we sort of picture these big cinematic things that just aren't quite. And I think film is far more complicated. I mean, I don't know too much about it, but music we can do from our desk at home now. You know, anyone can. It's with film, I imagine a hell of a lot more layers.
So much more that goes into it. You need like you kind of need like a little team, like if you want it to be like not a complete headache.
Yeah. Unless you're just going to hold your phone and again, which does work, and those things do, you know, take off sometimes.
Yeah, I might do a couple of those.
yeah, no, they're quite captivating. I think that's especially with hip hop, you just want to watch the performance a lot of the time. There's something quite emotional. There's a story to it, and I always find it quite captivating to just watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
those things out.
It's like a over an online relationship versus like actually seeing the person say it to you. Like you could hear the words, but once you see the face that the words are coming out of and they're looking at it, like it's just like I feel the connection. It's like once you see someone live, it's like maybe I didn't like their music, but then I saw them live and I was just like, I kind of like, and maybe they were even cool too. Like they just like gave off, and that's why interviews are so great sometimes. Like I've made someone like they were like here and then now they're kind of like one of my favorites just because like I just love who they are.
Yeah, you see how personable somebody is, and you're like, oh, they're completely different to how I am. Sort of. Oh, sorry about that. I
good.
Visualized things. There we go. That's because I've gone for the wire, and now I'm yanking the thing around. We talked briefly about performances last time, and you did say that you found it quite euphoric to get on stage, but that you were quite new to it. It's been a couple of years. Has anything changed on that front? Are you getting more into it? What's the plan in terms of this project and live shows?
I you know what it is? Live shows to me, like right now, they've always been kind of like going to the gym. It's like you kind of psych yourself out, like I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to. It's like you get like those like kind of like jitters or whatever, and then like the stress. But then like once you're actually like up there, like I feel like I'm way more comfortable on stage than I am waiting to go on stage. It's kind of like a roller coaster, you know what I mean? And then once I'm done, I'm just like, but I've done like a numerous amount now, and I'm definitely very comfortable on stage. But like, I don't think I've experimented enough artistically in my live performances to find more creativity to get more passion into the live part of it. You know what I mean? Like, if that makes any sense. Like, it's kind of like, because hip hop shows are kind of like interesting because it's not like you have a band right now, like, or it's hard to find a band. So it's really kind of like karaoke in front of people.
A little bit. You've got to find a way to bring it to life. Yeah, you've got to get original with it.
And that I've always like since I started, like I've always wanted to just like skip doing the normal thing and just have a band, because I grew up like listening to bands my entire life. Before I even was really that into hip hop, I was like a hardcore kid. I would just like, I loved metal. I loved like all the like, I loved going to those shows. Like I love the energy of a band. Like the band always wins. If there's like a set list, it doesn't even matter if they're like that good, as long as they're like okay. The band just always is the most entertaining to like watch, to me at least.
Is that something you might do then, get a band together? And
I've been talking to the producers because they both they're like a two-pack of producers. One of them, he plays drums, and then the other one plays bass and guitar, and they both play in bands. So I was talking to them about doing like a live rendition of like two of them and recording it. And then based on how like the chemistry is with that, maybe go up to where they are and play some shows or something like that. I would just love to play with a band. It would just be
Yeah.
so great. It's kind of hard to find people though, like on a budget, you know,
Yeah.
especially a drummer. Drummer's like the hardest thing in the world to find, like because
Oh my God, yeah.
you have to
Every
find
drummer's
one.
in 10 bands already. That's what they say.
Yeah, they're either if they're good, they're in 10 bands.
Yeah.
If they're good, they don't have a kit. Or they cost a lot. If they're bad, they have a kit. It's like you can never find like it's like finding your soulmate.
Yeah, there's no easy way.
Yeah.
But that's cool. That I think that, yeah, it's hard as that would be to do. That would be an awesome way to kind of bring shine a light on a whole other side to your music, I think.
Yeah, you could do so many versions of it, and so many, like, you can change the vibe of every. So you can make a whole different song out of something if you really wanted to.
Yeah,
it's like
I think I've been to obviously a lot of gigs, but some of the most memorable ones have been really small, intimate ones. Do you know a rapper called Greaves?
Greaves. Is that based out of where you're from?
No, he's American. I'm not sure where he's from, but he's been doing it for about a decade ago. I first found him. He came to the UK and did a very small tour quite a few years ago. And he just had, I think it was just like a trumpet player and a bass player. And they perhaps had a little drum thing going on. And it was awesome. Like, I love his raps anyway, but just these little organic, touches that they'd added to the arrangement just really helped it's cemented it in my mind as one of the best rap shows, at least, that I've seen.
It's the coolest thing ever, especially with rap. I feel like people rapping over a jazz band or something like that is just like, I just like sit there and just stare in awe. I'm just like, this is like the coolest. They could say anything they want up there. I don't even care if it's good. It sounds amazing.
Insult me, whatever you want.
Yeah, say whatever you want.
Keep the music going.
Yeah.
Are you an instrumentalist as well? Do you play?
I play instruments probably as good as I play sports. Like, I know how to play all of them. I could probably figure it out or hold my own for like a little bit, but I'm not like really good at any of them. I played like clarinet throughout high school.
Yeah.
And that
you're not using MIDI keyboard or anything when you're producing? You just do it all?
Yeah, it's the thing is, I use just about all the instruments that you would use in a studio. It just takes me like a little. So when I'm producing for someone, I always tell them like, hey, bear with me for a second. It's gonna sound really bad for like the next like 15 minutes, but I'll find it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But
well, that's great. That's the skill of it then, isn't it? You've sort of mastered it.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
No. I was saying like, yeah, like pretty much like I've been put in a situation where they're just like, oh, I want to do this song with like, it's pretty much like a band would make it. And I'm just like, all right, just give me like a little bit to figure out these chord progressions and kind of find my way around it. The bass, I probably played the most in the studio just because I always need a bass line or something like that. And it's a little bit, bass is one of those things that's like, it's easy to play and really hard to play good. Like, probably one of the best instruments in my opinion.
Probably slightly easier to do it manually as well, rather than trying to find the right sound and then kind of key it in.
That's it.
So I guess all the sort of things that we've been talking about have been, because the way that you respond to perhaps a challenge like that, a lot of producers might just be like, I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to make you a full band sound in the time that we have. Whereas you're like, okay, just give me a little, give me a little while and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That seems to be the approach that you have to a lot of stuff, is just maintaining this open mind and being consistent with what you're doing as well. So you've got the skills in there.
Mm-hmm.
But on that note, along that lines, sort of what would you say have been the main, I guess, tools or traits of what you've done to get to this point where you're obviously a full-time musician and things are going really well?
I guess a lot of comfortability being uncomfortable, like a lot of just like being okay with not knowing everything, and also being open to like feedback, even if it's like a you suck or like something like that. I usually never get the you suck because I never look like someone you have to tell that to. Like I if that makes sense, like I kind of like, I've never really had harsh feedback to me because I usually encourage it. And if someone's asking for feedback versus them just telling you, they're usually a little bit more like constructive about it. But I think just trial and error. And I mean, I've had a lot of things sound terrible like over the time, but like I just always I get more frustrated in a I need to know why, like versus frustrated in a I'm just stuck at it or something like that. So like and just working with people and just listening, like I've never like even like as like I always I like talking, but like I feel like my entire like in my personality, I always just like listen. And my brother would always produce. That's kind of like where I started. Is he started with Fruity Loops, like the first couple Fruity Loops on like our old Windows 95 computer or whatever. And every time he'd leave, I would just kind of like creep up and just like click a key or like something like that and try something and then show him.
Observe. Yeah, right.
And then
So that's
yeah.
go on, sorry.
No. What were you saying?
It's just quite a unique position that you're in then, that to say that you take it really well and you want to know why, you know, and how you can move forward from there. Because I think most artists in particular would take negative feedback and withdraw for a while, perhaps to figure it out, or perhaps to be just like, maybe this is the wrong path for me. So do you think you could trace that back to something in your life that's given you that confidence or that problem solving approach to it, rather than being so precious about it and feeling hurt?
That's an interesting question because I feel like I'm gonna like find a revelation of why right now as I try to think of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. I guess it's like I feel like as like a kid, I was always I don't know why. Like that's something I probably have to think of, but I've always kind of seen a lot of people's perspectives as different. Like I feel like I've because like just even starting in the family, you know what I mean? Like just seeing like how people view other family members, but then you'd be with them and then they'd have their views and everybody has these different views of things. And some people might say something negative about something, but then you see the positives of them. So that it's just like I've started to just take people's words as more opinions because I've seen more going on like behind the scenes and I know nothing's so certain. So like I feel like I've kind of brought that with me through like many stages of life. Like I've had my sensitive times and eras in my life when you're young and you start to like not know who you are, and then I think that's where it lies, that like if you don't know who you are or what you're about, you'll take things more to heart because you'll have them fill the questions you have versus.
Yeah.
And I think just over time I started like whatever I naturally did as a kid, I started to take my own advice later on. And I think now if someone gives me like a negative feedback, I can kind of tell the difference between if they're just saying some stuff versus
If
like,
it's about them more so than you.
yeah. And you know what? My family, you know, my parents are kind of like, we're always like older than most people's parents because my mom had me when I was like, and when she was like in her 40s. So I've always had these older parents, and you know, older parents, they're a little bit more like stern and they might say stuff a little more blunt and a little bit more, you know, a little more stank on it. But I never took it as like if my dad says something and it's a little aggressive versus this person saying they maybe have a like a little bit more like nurturing personality or something like that. And
Yeah.
to me, it's this: they're saying the same things, they just have a different way of saying it. And some people just give negative feedback a little bit more harsher than others. And sometimes I prefer it a little bit more just on the nose because it's just a statement. I don't have to like dissect it and just kind of like it's not supposed to feel good to like when you know you're told something isn't good enough or like it could be better. You know what I mean? I think it's just learning to be able to have like a little bit thicker skin. If you don't have that, you're definitely not going to be able to get to where you are, like, or where you want to go.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, that's amazing, really, because it sounds like you've just always had this emotional intelligence to kind of read people. And I guess perhaps with your parents, it's that they could be stern with you, but you'd seen the contrast of where they would be lovely with you, and you just like, oh, it's just, this is just a temporary thing. It's not a reflection of me. But that's amazing that you're able to kind of even dissect that and figure that out, because I think a lot of people don't, or they're much older when they kind of realize that not to take so much weight with it. That's quite inspiring. That good answer.
Thank you.
What are things like in New York at the moment in terms of like, do you get out to shows much, and do you feel like the scene has changed since perhaps before COVID, or like what's happening there with hip hop and live music in general?
You know what's funny is I feel like it's actually a little bit more after like pre before like now. Like I feel like people are way more into going out and seeing stuff and do. It feels like that whole time period was just like a weird space in life, and then now we're back. Like everybody's kind of like back to normal. But I feel like that kind of made a lot of people like wake up a little bit and be like, wow, I don't like I need to do more stuff. Like I need to
Yeah.
like go out more. Like everybody was just so like, I just want to go to this thing. I want to see people again and like do all this stuff. I feel like as soon as like things got like lifted and everything like that, every like the bars were the most packed they'd ever been. Like
Yeah.
the venues, like everything's crazier now. And yeah, especially around here, I feel like it's pretty decent. Like the turnout on most events. Sometimes you always get those shows that are like nobody heard the word or something like that. But
Yeah, of
yeah,
course, that's the nature of it. But yeah, I think it's the same here. It was almost like the great reset, and then we're always aware that stuff's going on, but beforehand it was like, oh, I can go to that another time. And then when the opportunity's taken away, I guess you're suddenly like, oh, I can't do those things anymore. You
yeah,
really want to, and yeah, I can understand.
yeah, 100%. It's definitely like it kind of it's the appreciation. It's the you left home and now you appreciate your parents type thing.
Yes, yeah, the gratitude, yeah, the appreciation, definitely.
Yeah, that's
Um,
nice.
so what's sort of in the what you obviously you're going to release a couple more videos, I assume, for this. What else are you planning for the months ahead?
So I definitely was talking to the producers about trying to maybe next month or something whenever they can do it, like seeing if we can get like a little live rendition and video of the live renditions. I'm gonna try to figure out music videos kind of just on the spot and just see like I work with the same music video guy that I worked on the one that just dropped. Ben Branch Out. He just like he loves making video. I love people who like love what they do because like he had like the first cut the night we like shot it because he was just ready to go, and that's like I mean
Nice.
that's like the best thing that's the best thing you can ask for. So like why
Yeah,
wouldn't I just keep working? You know what I mean? With someone who's so passionate about it, and so there might be some that just like I didn't expect, but I kind of asked his opinion. I was just like, if there's any that you think you would make a cool music video for, I'd rather the guy who's making it like do the one he wants. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, definitely, because he's going to mean something to him to put the best thing together, I guess, rather than
Yeah,
so. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm gonna try and do that, and just kind of like experiment. I just really wanna. I don't want to like stress out about it. I don't want to. Obviously, I want to like put some stuff out there, but like I remember when I used to like I try to like be like a streamer for like a little bit, and the first stream I ever did, I said this is my schedule before I even like had fun with it at all, and I'm trying to not fall back into that loop of making things work before they're even fun.
okay,
um so I just want to have fun and make the videos that I feel like are cool, and if other people say a video could be cool, I want to like be open to that, and just make being an artist like fun again. That's why like I wanted to lead off with this, because
yeah,
it's just fun. It's not too conceptual, but the concepts in it were real at the moment when I thought of them. So I just want to stay on this track and just not everything could be work. I already work a music job. You know what I mean? I need my outlet now.
yeah. Do you think you could, I don't want to say handle, but I guess that's what I mean. Would it suit you to be, if this became an option, to be fully all you were doing, or would you miss the, I guess, more introverted side where you're not the front man, behind the scenes sort of thing? Do you need the balance of both?
You know what? This is like a question I've been trying to answer for like a while, and I feel like I know the answer to that. And it's always interesting. Like I feel like anytime I've been interviewed, it almost seems like why is this guy interviewing then? But like I've like the artist side of me, because I always felt like I was just so much more comfortable being a behind the scenes guy, and just like I don't really feel like I have the ego to look at like a song that I could have wrote the whole song and everything and just had someone sing it, like ghost writ it. I don't
Mm.
have like the ego to like look at it and or the care and kind of be like, that should be me up there. You know what I mean? Like singing it. So
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard for me to say, like, this is the thing though, is like, if someone wanted to do that, like, I'm also kind of open to trying anything. I would love to try touring and try all these things because I feel like that's just more knowledge. You know what I mean? Like when I first started being an artist, I did it because I didn't have any artists to record. So I didn't know how to mix vocals. So I didn't know how to make a song. And I wanted to learn how to do that. So when I produce them, I could be a better producer because no one's going to listen to the guy who can't rap, tell him how to rap, or no one's going to listen to the guy who can't sing, tell him how to, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I feel like I could do a better job mentoring or like being a better producer to, if I have these, like I've done it before, you know what I mean? I can, and I do it at least well enough to give some kind of advice to somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess only time will tell. Like if the opportunity comes, I don't really like to throw opportunities away.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you'd go with it if things come up and see how it goes. It sounds like you're just giving yourself kind of a breadth of knowledge and possibilities. So whichever direction you go in, it will be related to music and the arts, and you can always change direction within that, which I think is the ideal way to do it. Especially these days, you know, when there's such a saturated industry that you need a few different options, I guess, within that.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, is your videos it don't come across in that way at all. You seem super confident in the videos, but also it's quite refreshing to find people, especially within rap and hip hop, who aren't all about the ego. And so then you get this sort of difficult place where the fans really want to hear more from you and connect with you, and you're just a bit more like, I don't really want to be that guy all the time.
Yeah.
So it's tricky. Sometimes you get that with you know, folk and rock music as well. The quiet, interesting ones are the ones we want to hear more from, but they're only doing one album every 4 years or something.
Yeah, it's always, especially I remember in the I mean, especially you see, like I always thought it was interesting when I was heavy into like the metal and the hardcore scene, is like you got these cats on stage just going nuts, super crazy crowd control. Like they're just going like, you're like, this is the most confident dude I've ever seen in my entire life. He's like literally like rolling on the floor right now. But then like they just kind of like, you see them walk out of the venue like this. Like they just
Yeah,
don't want to be seen. They just want to kind of go home. They don't like,
they don't want to be
or they're
interviewed.
really awkward when you talk to them. It's just like that voice you had on stage is not the voice you have in real life.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's
yeah,
fascinating, really, isn't it? I guess if you thrive on stage, we get to see the inner workings of the human mind, I guess, sort of fully.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of crazy. I remember it kind of brings up like for instance, like you, like in my videos, like I'm kind of being this way and stuff like that. And it's not even that that's not me, but it is kind of like an accentuated version of one side of myself that made this thing. But it's also like it's the same as when you record music, like when your voice, you're kind of like acting, like you're recreating a moment that you felt.
Yeah,
So it's just like fun to kind of be another version of yourself. And I also think it's kind of like a little healthier in this type of industry to like not be too, like you don't want to give, like some people just kind of like spiral and give too much of themselves to the society, like the population, and it kind of makes you find like you kind of have a false identity of that. Like I think it's more healthier to kind of have a little bit of like a divide so that you don't take what, it's almost like your artist is an LLC, and if people shit on your am I allowed to curse? I don't know.
yeah.
Okay. If people shit on your artist, they're just like attacking the LLC, not me. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
not fully me, so I shouldn't feel too emotionally attached to what they're saying about this version of myself because it's not
Yeah.
really me.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. That makes sense, especially with what we were talking about. Yeah, you're definitely right, because some people completely just embellish and become this character to the point that they forget who they were, I guess, and all the,
Yeah, it
you
happens
know,
a lot, and I know that it's like I was having this conversation with one of my artists before, like because they have trouble being on social media because they kind of gave that up as a health move, like a mental health move, like for themselves, like a while ago. But they're also very into being an artist and they want to put it out. And it's like just it's hard to say, like it's hard, but it's true. Like you have to use it. You know what I mean? But I told them I was like, you know, yeah, maybe if it's hard for you to be on social media and like be around this like the drama of it and stuff like that, like, but you want to be involved in it, then just kind of separate yourself from this person who's on it and just post as the artist, not as you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
make a personal social media and then make the artist one if you really want to. If it's a little hard for you to do that, because it'll make it a little bit easier to say, like, I don't care what these people are saying about like the hate mail or whatever. If people have bad opinions to say about, it's not about me, it's about the art. You know what I mean? And you have to have an art is an expression of you, but it's not you 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, friends and family, and then the performance side of it, so you can really kind of dive into that without being afraid, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
of what it'll do to your own life and the decisions that you make. I really liked what you said about that when you're recording stuff, you're essentially acting, because I've never thought of it like that, but you are. Every time you do another take, you're not faking it, you're finding that emotion again. So I
Yeah,
guess it's the same when you do visual stuff. You're just throwing yourself back into this emotion
exactly.
again, or whatever it is.
Exactly. That's why, like, I feel like it's hard for some bands. Like, you ever like go to see a show and you're just like, oh, I kind of wish they played that old song that they always would play. And it's hard for them to bring themselves back to that moment,
Yeah,
because it is so emotional for them that like it doesn't define them now. But at the same time, like, I can understand that in like an organizational mood of just kind of like trying to showcase a new style or something like that. But like, if they do that old stuff, they're bringing the same energy as like when they were 15 versus they're 30 doing it now, or like something like that.
yeah, yeah. Dig it right back up, which I guess we saw, with the likes of even Blink-182 coming back recently, seemed to put a lot of emotion into stuff. It was quite surprising.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, perhaps they don't want to as well, if they've kind of moved on and they've achieved stability in their life, and then suddenly all the fans are like, yeah, but go back to that depressing stage, because we want to hear that song.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of funny because I remember we were talking in the studio about like bands like Newfound Glory or something like that were like super like angsty teen music. But it's kind
Yeah,
of interesting. It's like, when do you kind of stop being the angsty teens on stage? Like, at what age can you get away with playing old, like those type of songs? Do you know what I
shifting.
mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah, I
I
don't
get,
know.
yeah, who knows? That's why it's good to be like a little universal, I guess, like not just make a certain age group's music, so that you can,
Yeah,
you could still, that then it makes like the young music, if you reperform it, feel like a nostalgia like perspective, versus like, I hate, I like using the I terms and stuff like that, like, and saying it as like a, maybe like a 40-year-old man talking
yeah,
about like the first time he met a girl, but like as an
yeah,
I.
yeah. Maybe do it in a third person just to really hear it. Yeah,
They switch the lyrics just for the performance.
yeah. Oh, that'd be weird. That'd be disappointing, I think.
Yeah, probably a little bit, right?
Do you mix it up with your work? Do you make music for kind of older and younger people in different genres, or do you keep it quite, um, I guess, I don't know, niche?
um, I guess it depends on my mood. Sometimes I'm feeling like a little goofy, and I'll do something that it definitely seems just like not mature at all. Like, I have like some songs that I'm doing with like a couple friends that are just, it's just, some of them are kind of like, they're just stupid, but like they're like so fun. You know what I mean? And I'm saying some stupid stuff, and I'm sure if anybody heard it who is followed my music for a while, would be like, this isn't you. But it's just, but it's like, it's still, to me it's still fun. It's still a side of me if I'm saying stuff that I don't mean all the time, and then like I have stuff that does mean something. It's just like, it's still a side of me, and some people are scared to kind of like, they have to, I'm either the guy who says something or I'm the guy who doesn't say stuff.
Yeah,
So, but I do talk like a little general, like for the most part. Like, I'll give like some personal experience, but I do, if I'm saying something, I want everybody to have something that they can pull up that's kind of like that. Like, either it's a young person. I'd rather, like, if it's something I really want to get across to people, I'd want young people to maybe listen and watch out for that, or older people to listen and relate. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's kind of like a line that kind of like will get, I guess, a respect of someone who's older could tell me if I'm right or wrong about it, or someone who's younger who might see something a little differently and maybe not trip out about it, the situation
mm,
as much or something.
yeah, Yeah, you've got quite a wise approach to everything. I guess that's why you're doing so well. So
No, not really. I'm just saying stuff.
I'm just saying stuff. No, it's really nice to chat to you. Anyway, after all this time, I was looking back at all the music I've heard of yours since like 2018. I think was probably the first time.
I know, a long time ago. I don't even think that
Yeah.
song's on streaming right
Oh,
now. Like
really?
the first one. It's just like it's also like it's probably like a little insecurity of just like I just hate listening to. See, when you that what's great about like why I always wanted to submit to you and like I just never really submitted to like other people is just because like you made you have a way with your words and I know and you're also so in tune with how music is that like you'll find things that I didn't realize I did. uh and it makes me re-listen to my own music and
That's
kind of
awesome.
like
Yeah,
like
people have said
analyze
that.
it a little bit differently.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. I think that's why I love that. It's analyzing, I guess, because on the one hand, if it's a good piece of music, I can just listen to it, and sometimes it takes me a couple of tries to actually write something about it because it's such a good tune. And then I'm like, right, why do I like it? I like figuring out why I enjoyed it and why this bit worked. And so you're then kind of working backwards, whereas the artist has only worked forwards to make the track. So it makes sense that perhaps you could
That's
shine light. It's weird to think that you
yeah.
can shine light on some other parts of someone's music, but
I think it's
yeah.
great because it's kind of like I I don't know how you are in your own personal life, but I can assume that in some situations it would kind of translate over to just even life in general. Like some people might have their views on certain things and things might seem so much this way. Like let's just relate it to like a song that just really isn't particularly that good. Like it's just it happens. Like it's just like it just might not be ready yet. You know what I mean? And it's new and it's just like maybe they're first or whatever. But um being able to like break down what's happening is a teachable moment. Like you don't even realize like what you just did. Like there's like the potential in these things that you're doing. Now you can like look out for that. It's the same as like in real life. It's just like things might seem like they're not that good, but you could, it's kind of like a positive mindset of just breaking down like the beauty of every little thing that's happening, even if it doesn't sonically sound the best. It's like you could still break it down, and I think that's like it makes people look back at it. I mean, I looked back at it every single review. I was like, oh wow, I guess it is pretty good. but
Oh, no,
but
thank you. That's
yeah,
yeah. It's I guess about finding. There's always I'm always of the mindset that if someone's making music, that's the best thing that they can be doing. There are far worse things you could be doing with your time. So you try and find the gold parts, I guess. And there's always something, even if it's badly sung. Perhaps it's really passionate, or maybe it's a terrible beat underneath it, but there's something in there that's really good. And so
there's a
rather than
character about it.
saying
Yeah,
this bit's terrible, I'd say this bit's great, and I'd perhaps not focus on that other bit as much.
yeah,
And you kind of get the message across in a way that's a bit more encouraging, I guess.
yeah.
That's what I try to
Encouraging
do.
and like it's just like kind of like more positive reinforcement. Like show the light or like the what you have, like what has the most potential, or even just stuff that's just like has the best character amongst it. And I feel like I relate to that because that's it's so hard for me to say something's bad. Like it's just like it to me again it goes back to like art not being perfect and with art like there's really no such thing as bad art. You know what I mean?
No.
I feel like the only bad art is art that's it's not there was no any I was gonna say no emotion attached to it, but even that's some type of art. It's just like it's like some other thing. It's just like but even I remember when I used to try to do like music reviews or like something like that, like it could be like the most like hard to listen to thing ever, but like there's something in it. You know what I mean? There can't be absolutely nothing unless I was just listening to like complete and utter distortion. Like there's something in it that has some type of character that is unique to that person alone.
Yeah, that's
Because
absolutely right. Yeah.
but and I feel like I took that with me and just giving advice too is just you could always find something. It's like you could always find something in somebody that you like, no matter
Yeah.
how well there's a limit, but like you
Yeah.
probably won't try to find something nice in somebody so terrible, but like you kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, definitely. Unless they're saying something that's just nasty and, there's nothing
Yeah, then
that
they
you
don't
want.
warrant finding something nice.
No, exactly. Yeah, they get kind of the thing they put out is what they get back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. There's no. I guess it's argued in different ways, but there is no bad art. It's not like building bridges or making cars. There are bad cars and there are bridges that aren't going to work. But
Yeah.
with there's no function to art other than to connect, and you're never going to connect with everybody. So
yeah, there's no art is natural. It's like there's no bad tree. There's no like bad. You know what I mean? There's nothing natural that's bad.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. Nice.
That's
Was there
pretty good,
anything
right?
else you were? That was really good. Yeah, I like that. I've taken lots of notes from this one. You say you laughed when I said it, but you do seem very wise. This is good.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you. Is there anything you wanted to sort of talk about or mention?
Well, I do think that I hope you continue to like people continue to like be aware of you, because there's a lot of, I probably mentioned you many times like throughout the like from the first review to like now, like you should send stuff to her, like she like like, or like just because like I feel like I've out of anything I've ever like tried to like push my music to, like your platform and you is like the most recognizable and the only one I really remember. So I think
I really appreciate that. Thank you. That's really nice of me to say.
And I hope there's more like word on you and your like I wish I could just like we could have another day where I can ask you a million questions, because I feel like the fact that you have so much to say has way more, like now I'm kind of curious how you built your thing and where you came from and stuff like that. But like I feel like I wish there was more interviews where it's like a dual interview. It's just like you just learn about the person that you're interviewing,
more
and
back and forth.
Yeah. But like at the same time, I just think if I were to give like something to everybody, it would be like just it's not that serious. It's all about like a good life and having fun and learning along the way. And I feel like the things like this interview and stuff like that, is like to me just like a connection. And I think it's more important to connect rather than network, because
Nice.
because like you're gonna just take with you, throughout your life the people you've met, and that's all I care about with the music thing. I don't need to be like this big thing. Like I would love for the people I do to be this big thing, because I feel like they deserve it. And I'm not saying I don't think I deserve it or anything like that. Like I'm not like depressed or anything like that. But I do think that the thing that you're gonna take with you and the thing that like you grow old with is like the people you've connected with. And I think music is one of the best, and art in general is like one of the best ways to connect with anybody. And it's the only time you can kind of be vulnerable around people in a way that doesn't seem like it's not like too deep, I guess. It's a weird thing about it that like you could say them in your lyrics the most like vulnerable personal thing in the world, but like it doesn't make the room weird. You know what I mean?
People it's not like you stood and read your diary to them. It's like you've made something that they actually get, and they're like, oh, they're drawn in by it. It's amazing. There's nothing that compares really.
There really isn't. It's like the only way to display an emotion without it like bringing the whole room's vibe down, or like it's like the only palatable way to consume somebody else's like emotions. So it's a great thing. I don't know. I think like if I was promoting, listen, hopefully you'd like to listen to what I have, but also just see everything around you and listen to that and listen to who I promote and who I feel like should be, if you like respect my opinion, or for you, whoever you say, just kind of like taking other people's opinion, and don't go into it like promoting yourself right away. Like do something for other people, like in the community, build a community. That's like a really easy way. Like if you really wanted to be a little sneaky, then while also doing good, it just builds like your own community, and then they'll definitely listen to you.
But absolutely. Yeah. Nice one. No, that's brilliant. Thank you. Well, we can do it again anyway. Call me back next week.
We could do a weekly podcast. I'm fine. We'll do it live.
That sounds good. Yeah, this is great because we're only just really getting into it then, and I was like, oh shit, we've been on an hour.
Oh shit, has it really? Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
But no,
great.
it's been awesome. I really, really appreciate it. I'm super happy that you've got a full length album out as well, all of a sudden, which I'm going to enjoy a bit more this week. But yeah, congrats for that.
Thank you. Hopefully, what do you play an instrument?
Yeah, I play guitar.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, then you're gonna have to send me some guitar stems so I can sample them.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, why not, right?
Let's do a collab. All right. We've
Yeah.
got plans.
Yeah.
Nice
I'm
one.
down.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day then. What is it, like 4 p.m. there?
4 p.m.
Yeah.
4:05 actually. So you're a little close,
Nice.
but
All right. Well, yeah, enjoy. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure I'll speak to you again soon.
absolutely. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, real pleasure. Finally.
Yeah, woo.
All right. I'll see you soon.
All right, I'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.